All right, October continues to be a crazy month, so let's take a look at the new horror movies being released for the week of October 18th, 2024. First up on Netflix is a movie called Outside, a family trying to outrun the zombie outbreak by returning to their father's childhood farmhouse, fortifying it to keep out the dead ones. Alas, there's just as much horror and trauma at the ancestral home as there is outside the gates. This is written and directed by Carlo Ledesma. Ledesma's last film was a movie called Sunout, which had decent reviews. This is a horror movie from the Philippines. There are no reviews as of yet, not uncommon for Netflix movies. This stars Sid Lucero, Beauty Gonzalez, and Marco Massa. So check it out if you're interested. It is on Netflix on October 17th. Next up on October 18th, Friday, is Rippy on VOD. Obsessed with living up to her dead father's legacy as a young sheriff, finds her metal tested when locals are found ripped to shreds. This is written and directed by Ryan Coonan, also written by Richard Barcaccio. This stars Michael Biehn, Tess Haubrich, and Aaron Peters. This is a zombie kangaroo movie. It is based on a short 2014 film called Waterbone. This is expanded that into a feature-length movie, which is Coonan's debut feature as well. There are no reviews as of yet for Rippy. There are some reviews for the short film Waterbone, and it got pretty decent reviews. So check it out if you are in the mood for a zombie kangaroo movie. And who is it? That's Rippy on VOD, October 18th. Next up on October 18th on VOD is I Will Never Leave You Alone. After being released from prison, a brooding man with a dark past is forced to stay in a haunted house to clear it of its spirits. If he leaves, he goes back to prison, but the witch ghost may be more punishment than he can withstand. This is written and directed by D.W. Meadoff. The stars Kenneth Trujillo, Katerina Eckenberger, and Christopher Genovese. D.W. Meadoff previously directed a movie in 2023 called Pollen, which is about a mysterious tree monster haunting a woman. There are some reviews for I Will Never Leave You Alone as it played Fright Fest in August. Anton Battelle of Projected Figures said D.W. Meadoff's bewitching psychodrama imprisons a haunted ex-con in an equally haunted property. The majority, I believe there are 3 or 4 reviews, they were positive coming out of Fright Fest. It's on VOD. Check it out. That's I Will Never Leave You Alone. Next up on October 18th is Die Alone. This tells the story of a young man who has amnesia. He bands together with a rugged survivalist in a zombie-like outbreak to find his girlfriend. Is that 3 zombie-related movies this week, including a zombie kangaroo? Written and directed by Lowell Dean, starring Frank Grillo, Carrie-Ann Moss, and Douglas Smith. Pretty cool cast. Lowell Dean is director of Wolf Cop, a movie from 2014, which I loved. He also directed a pro wrestling movie called Dark Match, which has a 2024 release date on IMDb, but I don't see it available right now anywhere. Hopefully soon. I would like to check that out. I found a few reviews for Die Alone. All of them are pretty positive. Thomas Erst of Original Sin says Dean crafts a haunting romantic thriller. This isn't just a zombie film. It's a haunting exploration of love, loss, and what it means to hold on when everything else falls apart. I'm putting this one on my watch list. This has a great cast, and I've liked the director's past work. I'm really interested to check this one out. It is out on VOD. That is Die Alone on October 18th. Next up, on October 18th, Children of the Pines on VOD. Riley, a college junior, is persuaded by her estranged parents to visit. Unbeknownst to her, they've developed an unsettling friendship with their high school ex, while also seeking supernatural healing for their family's deep-rooted issues. Written and directed by Josh Morgan, the stars Danielle J. Bowman, Sylvie Moore, and Kelly Tappan. This is the debut feature for Morgan, so a couple debut features this week. Erica Vilkes of For the Love of Horror said of the film, Morgan approaches complex themes and emotions head-on, and that confidence translates to every actor on screen. This is a poetic horror film with an innovative twist that inspires curiosity and dread. So that is Children of the Pines. You can check that out on VOD October 18th. All right, we are getting into the bigger stuff now. Woman of the Hour drops Friday on Netflix. Cheryl Bradshaw, a single woman looking for a suitor on a hit 1970s TV show, chooses charming bachelor Rodney Alcala, unaware that behind the man's gentle facade, he hides a deadly secret. This is directed by Anna Kendrick, star of The Accountant. Written by Ian McDonald, starring Anna Kendrick, star of The Accountant, and Danielle Zavato and Tony Hale. 2024 seems to be the year of the horror movie based on old TV shows that no longer exist, with Late Night with the Devil as well. I guess talk shows still exist, but not as popular as they once were in the Johnny Carson era. Anna Kendrick's directorial debut. This has played some festivals, and this has gotten some really good reviews. 92% with 62 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, so that's a pretty decent sample size. I think it's also had a small theatrical release, just nowhere around me. Megan Navarro of Bloody Disgusting said of the film, Kendrick's incisive vision, blending horror and humor with non-linear storytelling, makes for an unshakable debut. This is on my watch list. I'm excited to check this out. This might be 2 for 2 on Netflix movies I watch this month, with It's What's Inside being the first. So that is Woman of the Hour on Netflix, October 18th. All right, and then the biggest release as far as horror movies go, maybe this month, although who knows with Terrifier 3 killing it. Smile 2, about to embark on a world tour, global pop sensation Sky Riley begins experiencing increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and pressures of fame, Sky is forced to face her past. This is written and directed by Parker Finn, starring Naomi Scott, Kyle Gallner, and Drew Barrymore. I did not know that. This is the big release of the week, as I mentioned. The first one was a surprise hit, had some great marketing. I have seen marketing nonstop for this one as I've been watching a lot of like baseball playoff stuff like that. A lot of the early buzz online has been solid from what I've seen. There are no official reviews as of me recording this. They are going to start hitting in the next couple of days, though, I'm sure. Probably by the time I publish this, there'll be a ton of reviews out there. But this is on the watch list. I liked the first movie quite a bit, and I've been sold by the trailers for this one. So Smile 2 out in theaters this week. The last one I wanted to mention, because the poster sells it with a pull quote that says it's Night of the Living Dead meets Dr. Strangelove, is a movie called Rumors. The leaders of 7 wealthy democracies get lost in the woods while drafting a statement on a global crisis facing danger as they attempt to find their way out. Directed by Evan Johnson, Galen Johnson, and Guy Madden. Written by Evan Johnson. This stars Kate Blanchett, Rolando Ravello, and Charles Dance. Absolutely. I don't know if this is kind of like an anthology style film. It's kind of horror adjacent, but I did want to mention it because it is sold as a horror comedy. Brian Tellerico of RogerEbert.com says, to be fair, you'll have more than one chuckle. The film is consistently, cleverly entertaining, and that's all it needs to be, even if I wondered if the younger Madden might have found a way to imbue it with more passion and creative vigor. So there you go. That's Rumors. That's also out in theaters on October 18th. That's it for this week that I could find, at least. I'm sure I missed some, but I want to plug the podcast. So, Horror Movie Yearbook, wherever you get your podcasts. We have done a really fun series on our favorite horror movies of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You can check that out now. All 3 episodes are out now. We're taking a break next episode to talk about the Monster Squad. It's going to be our Halloween episode, our Halloween celebration. We also released a heartwarming bonus episode. Our Tiny Terror is what we call it, but Willie's family is visiting him, and they brought some VHS tapes, some very special VHS tapes for Willie, and we dug through a bucket of VHS tapes, and we got a little misty-eyed with some of them, but it's a very touching episode, a heartwarming episode for the Halloween season. I also released a bonus episode called HMY. I'm calling it HMY Plus, but it's just some stuff that we wouldn't normally talk about on the podcast, some current event. I did a deep dive into Terrifier 3's box office. I took a look at why I thought it was successful, just how successful it was, how insane it was, the lessons that can be learned from it, both in Hollywood and horror movies in general, and for fans as well. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I also took a look at the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards for 2024, and I saw if I could disagree with any of the readers of Fangoria, which I am one. And then I reviewed Peacock's Teacup, the new James Wan produced horror series that's been playing this month. And I took a look at the new Scare Tactics the reboot of the old Sci-Fi Network show. So that's out wherever you get your podcast. And while you're at it, check out the Midwest Game Nerds, our fellow Midwest Podcast Network's cohorts. They are reviewing, I'm sure they're reviewing a bunch of fun video games. So check them out, Midwest Game Nerds, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.